Hello, everybody. You've tuned into the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. I'm your host, Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office. Tom Trial, our man behind the camera, putting us on YouTube each and every week. So remember, each one of these shows that you're listening to are also available on the Indiana State Police YouTube site. A lot of interesting films on that on that site. So go there and see what Tom's put on there this week. A lot of neat things that he puts on there each and every week. A guest I have today is a new guest, not been with me today. Rebecca, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Rebecca Leonard. She's with Parents in Partnership, and it's a group that we, Superintendent Carter and Captain Dave Burston from the Public Information Office and myself joined her with an event the other night at Fishers High School. And it was very interesting, eye-opening, had a lot of great information that I wanted to invite you in and talk about what Parents in Partnership actually do for the community up there. So let's get a little background here. Is this a PTO or is this something different from the PTO, or how did this get started, Rebecca?
This is a PTO network of parents across the district. It's not associated with just one school. So it is a network of parents that have come together to sign a pledge to keep our kids safe. Okay. We have mainly focused on drug and alcohol prevention, right. Equipping parents with good information about trends right now, about how to keep kids safe, how to instill the right messages in their kids regarding drugs and alcohol. We have recently, in the past year, branched out into mental health awareness as well, because a lot of addiction, as you know, has an underlying connection to mental health disorders. Often, it is actually a substance use disorder classified in the DSM, but right now, a lot of reasons why teens will seek mood altering or drugs and alcohol as a coping skills because there might be underlying mental health issues. So we really want to help create awareness within our parent population. So we have partnered with the Fishers Mental Health Task Force as well as the HSE district to try to bring these issues of mental health and addiction prevention and recovery to our parents in a new way, try to engage parents.
So what began Parents in Partnership? What was was there something that triggered the start of Parents in Partnership?
Yeah, that's a good question. It actually was formed in 1988 by Todd Houston's mother, Joni. Okay. And it was, as the Fishers community was growing, it was harder and harder for parents to know each other and connect. Right. So there's more than 22,000 students in Fishers now. So it's really hard when, as a parent, you send your child off to high school, and it just seems kind of like it's difficult to, know what's going on in their lives. And so, we offer a directory to our parents members, and they can search and call other parents. So if there's a party or gathering happening at their house, then I could call that parent and I could say, hey, are you going to be home, and connect with them. As my son, who's 16 in the district, and he's starting to develop his own social life and make his own decisions about that. And so I want to know where he's going. It's important for families to stay in touch with what their kids are doing and where they're going. So it's just one way that they can do that. And also to connect families to local resources. And that's another thing that another goal of Parents in Partnership. So we are developing a website currently. So that should be coming online sometime this year, and that will have a lot of good information as well as local resources, places parents can go for getting help that they need.
Now, right now, you say that the parents, you have a network. How does that work out? At the beginning of the year, do you have this available? Say, if you want to sign up for this
Yes.
network?
During student registration,
Okay.
there's the opportunity to fill out a form, and then that's what gets membership into the directory. And so we are also looking to grow our parent network as well. So thank you for this opportunity to promote Parents in Partnership. One of the other things that we do are parent awareness nights. And so it is an opportunity for us to take a topic that is of high interest and need for the parents and, put an event on. And that's what yesterday was about. Ben Gonzalez was our keynote speaker.
Yeah.
And how did you feel about Ben's story?
Yeah, Ben's story was very eye-opening, as with all the recovering addicts stories that I've heard across the training that I've been to and the events that I've been to. But very eye-opening and very informative, and that's what Captain Burst and myself were utilizing the social media yesterday evening while you folks were up there. But learning and knowledge, I believe, is going to be the first step to battling this epidemic that we have across Indiana and the nation right now. So it's excellent to see those speakers come in, but not only him, but the panel of experts that you also had up there to talk about it and to receive questions from the audience and throughout was excellent. So that was a good atmosphere of open dialogue. And talk a little bit about that, how you decided to do that and how that came about.
Yes. So Ben Gonzalez, I had met him a couple years ago, and he was a year into his recovery. He is a brilliant mind. His parents, work at Lilly, and he went to Purdue, got a math degree. So he really doesn't fit this what we think of or stigmatize drug addiction as. He is a high functioning individual. But he began his addiction through taking opioids after his wisdom teeth were taken out, and then he was. It ended up spiraling over the next few years into heroin addiction, a line he would never thought he would cross. And I think he had 6 overdoses. Yeah. And, finally made the decision to become willing, to be humble, to receive and ask for help. So, his story was not just the shock value of all the tragedies surrounding his addiction, but it was one of hope. It was one of, what recovery looks like and what it offers and how it gives a life back to him and to his family. And then now he's in turn paying it forward and, trying to be an advocate in the community. And he's now working on 2 master's degrees. So many gifts of recovery has been returned to him. And he'll admit he's a better person for it. He is a better version of himself. So I think the night was one of hope, and that where to turn if parents are suspecting a problem. So we had several on the. I'll just. Doug Carter, the superintendent of state police, as you mentioned, Ken Manlove, with the director of Indiana Addiction Issues Coalition, Brad Trolson, recovery coach with Hope Academy and Adolescent Services at Fairbanks, and then Jill Gonzalez, which was Ben's mom, and she shared her family perspective. Yeah. So we had about a half an hour question and answer. We had 42 questions we didn't get to, so it was a really good response from parents really wanting to know more. And, the way I see it, we're so early in fighting this battle, this crisis of public health, that if you remember the HIV epidemic back in the 80s and how there was so much misinformation, it was a death sentence then. But look at where we've come. Look at how we've grown. Like, we know so much more about the disease and we can manage it, and we have good therapies. And It's no longer a death sentence. So I see drug addiction the same way. It's not just a parent problem. It is a community problem. And then when we start looking at this as a problem that we all need to own, and we all need to take the mask off and get real about what's going on in our families, that's the beginning. Understanding this as a disease and not just a moral failing or a character flaw, I think that is where we're going to make big strides in getting people the help, and for them to let go of the shame, both families and parents of addicts and those that abuse drugs and alcohol, to get the help they need.
Yeah, and again, you're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance Cops for Kids. I'm speaking with Rebecca Leonard. She's a committee member of the Parents in Partnership with the Fishers School District here. And we're talking about a program that we attended the other night, Captain Dave Burst and myself and Superintendent Carter, there in Fishers High School, about drug addiction, specifically the opioid process, or the what we're experiencing now in Indiana. But one of the things that I took away from there that I thought was very good that the young man talked about was the family, getting together with the family, having dinner, sitting down, being a family, and learning and talking and having that communication. I think that communication was a big part of what we need to take away from that evening, don't you?
Absolutely. I think UNICEF did a couple years ago, did a survey, and they have found that American teens are one of the loneliest teens on the planet. And social media is kind of a false sense of connection. And the busier our families are, and the time that we don't prioritize to sit down as a family and just connect and talk, I think it causes more loneliness in kids. And I think that is an issue, that when your child has a problem and you don't know them or, as deeply, and can't sense the changes that are happening within them, or can't be, a shepherd in their life, then it's, you miss out on really helping them through a tough time.
If a parent wanted to find out more about your organization, how would they get a hold of you, or how do they find out to be involved in the Parents in Partnership?
Well, it is on our district website. At the high schools, we have Parents in Partnership tab. So that's why we're developing a website, so that we can be reached more readily and get good information out to the public.
Do you guys have monthly meetings? Do you get together?
Our committee has meetings. Right now, we don't have, support groups at the moment. I think that's an area that I think parents need to grow, or that this needs to grow. It's hard. It's really hard to engage parents. Again, it's like we all live busy lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but there are families out there struggling in the silence, that don't want to talk about what's really bugging them, what's really going on, what their fears are. I kind of see there are two different kinds of parents that I talk with or run into. One are those proactive parents that kind of have some worries and fears, want to get ahead of this, and others are more reactive. And that's where we need to grow some awareness, especially with drug addiction, suicide prevention, those that believe that, this doesn't apply to me, this isn't going to happen in my family. But we all know someone in our extended family with addiction issues.
Yeah, and again, with your event the other night and what you guys got started, just the dialogue is going to help tremendously with this in particular, this topic that we're talking about. But anything that comes up, the knowledge and base, again, that we talked about is going to be it. So, Rebecca, we've run out of time, but I appreciate you coming in and talking to us about this very, very great topic that we need to discuss and have out in front of everybody in Indiana. So thank you for what you do, and I hope your organization grows.
Thank you for having me.
Again, you've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids. We appreciate you listening to us this week. We'll catch you again next week when we have another show. Thanks for listening. Roadshow out.